Hey, how you doing? It's Allan
and
HOOSTAN. We're doing another podcast.
We first and foremost, we couldn't thank all of you guys enough for watching the first one. Got a decent amount of views. Even for the trailer for our podcast, we got a lot of views. So for everyone watching, we appreciate it. We hope you will continue this journey with us on this podcast. So like we said in the previous one, we won't talk about a certain subject. We'll talk about many different subjects within the subject. So the subject we're going to be talking about today is music, which is something that me and Justin, or HOOSTAN, both really like. It's like a big part of our lives. It's a big part of my life. So figured today we talk about music.
Yep, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Like, for instance, I personally think that the 60s was a very influential time for rock due to the fact, and this is an underrated thing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to actually hit it even lower. I think the 50s were also a pretty important era for rock, because I feel like in the 40s and 30s, basically all the times before the 50s, jazz and all that sort of stuff was really the main focal point. It wasn't until the 50s where rock became what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I
I kind of agree with that. I mean, because jazz was really a precursor to basically rock music at that time. And a lot of guys, even late like in the 60s on, were influenced by jazz. You got guys like Duke Ellington, you got Tony Williams, anything. For me, I would say the most influential, and this is a little biased, but this is just me, because this is my favorite era. I think the most influential is like the late 60s, but really like 70s, early 70s. Like the 70s as a whole, I think was like an influential era of rock music, because a lot of genres, subgenres really, within rock started to form. Like progressive rock started to form. Really, the hard rock really started to like really be on the rise.
I agree.
I.e., like Led Zeppelin, my favorite band of all time. They were pioneers of that. A lot of people may say they were a pioneer of heavy metal. I could disagree, because I feel like Black Sabbath was the pioneer of heavy metal. Led Zeppelin and other bands like Deep Purple, for example, they were like, they are like the precursors, like, or proto metal, whatever you want to call it, but they were really more an influence on the sound that a lot of those heavy metal guys would take influence from. So like with Sabbath, like I said, they were influenced a lot by the stuff that Zeppelin did, with like distorted guitars and like the intricate riffs and like the drum beats and like the vocals, everything. So I think that the 70s was a really important piece of music, especially for innovating. So, and like Led Zeppelin, for example, my favorite band of all time. He's starting to get into Zeppelin, because I taught him a decent amount. Zeppelin was a pioneering band, innovative band, really creative with a lot of their music. They really expanded the horizon over the course of their unfortunate short-time career because of the passing of their drummer, John Bonham, my favorite drummer of all time. Really had me starting to really appreciate older music, and especially got me back into drums, because I have played drums in the past. I gave up with it at some point in time, but he got me really into it. Speaking of Zeppelin, what would be like your favorite album?
I think the first one was good. And I'm not saying that just to say it, because I know when we were talking about in the last podcast, we were talking about Halloween. And everyone would choose the first one just because it's the first one.
Yeah.
I personally think Led Zeppelin one is one of the best.
Okay.
Just, I don't know. I just like a lot of the songs on there, but I know I don't like 3. What about you, AJ? What's your favorite?
Well, to add on what you're saying about the third album, not really a fan of that one. I know it was a shifting point in their authenticity, if that's the word, or authenticity of becoming themselves, but there was like a few enjoyable songs, like Immigrant Song, Since I've Been Loving You, and Bron Your Stomp. But and our favorite, hats off to Roy Harper. But back to what you were saying on the first album, that is not my first album, but I'll get to my first album, my favorite album in a second. But to add on what you're saying, that first album really pioneered hard rock, even blues rock, everything about it. You know, it really showcased their style. Each and every one of them, each and every song showcases each one of the guys' talent, whether it would be Robert Plant. I think Robert Plant's vocals in this album was a good start. Jimmy's guitar work was great. John Bonham's drumming was like spot on.
And John Page on the keyboard.
John Paul Jones on the keyboard.
I'm playing.
But on the topic of my favorite album, there's really two albums that can really go neck and neck. But I think the one album that really started to appreciate was their second album. It really came out around that time, because I know that album came out in '69 because the band started in '68. Those two albums came out the same year. So, but the second album was, this is just my opinion, excuse me, that album was really more of the influence. Both albums were influential. Don't get me wrong. Even any of them. Any album was influential. But as far as like, for me, for my preference, I think the second album was so timeless, because I think they started to really break a lot of boundaries and did a lot of things that a lot of rock bands in the past never did. Like you never would hear the Beatles do like a distorted guitar part, like in Whole Lotta Love in the beginning, which is the first song off the album. They do like that interlude section where it's like the distorted guitar and it goes back to alternate speakers. No other band in the past did that.
I think the Beatles did it at some point. I don't know whether it was before or after.
I think I could be wrong, but Zeppelin really popularized it because they got a lot of influence from a lot of those blues bands and like a lot of those folk blues acts in the past, but really put their own spin on it. It's just that album had a diverse, not a diverse, but it had just like a back to back. All the songs were great. You know, Whole Lotta Love was like, of course, their most iconic song of all time. You know, really, it's one of my favorites of all time. It's a kick-ass groove that Bonham plays on the drums. And another thing what I loved about Led Zeppelin, I will say this real quick, and you may agree. The way that John Bonham follows Jimmy Page, like their beats are kind of syncopated. It's like Whole Lotta Love. John follows Jimmy Page's guitar. That kind of really set them apart from any other band. But, of course, What Is and What Should Never Be, Ramble On was great.
That's a good song.
Great song. Moby Dick. Now, Moby Dick, for any that are not familiar with that is basically just an instrumental song. It really showcases John Bonham's drumming, but really the live versions were really the versions of Moby Dick that really capitalized and really showcased John Bonham's true talent. It was good though. Don't get me wrong. But I just thought it was okay. But it was still a great song, but again, for that time, you know. And then what would come after that was incredible. But so many other great songs on Led Zeppelin 2. I have a Led Zeppelin 2 t-shirt with that same font, same graphic of the album cover. It's such a great song. Well, not song. Such a great album. Everything. I'd say the fourth album would be my first. For a while it was. That album also has classic after classic after classic after classic after classic. But yeah, the second album is really... I love all their albums are great. I was the guy who did the Zeppathon. It's not an actual thing, but if you're a fan of Led Zeppelin, it's like you listen to all of their albums in a row. and I only did that once. I'm willing to do it again, but from that one time, they were all good albums, but there were some that I liked more than others. So,
the Zip-a-thon.
yes.
Very interesting. Led Zeppelin.
They're one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time.
He almost had a stroke there. he's so dedicated.
All right,
He almost
okay.
had a heart attack.
So, on the topic of Zeppelin real quick, and then we'll move on to
right.
more things of music. Knowing their two most popular songs, Stairway to Heaven, Kashmir, what would you pick as like their greatest song? When you think of Led Zeppelin, from these two song choices, what would you choose?
For what?
For either Stairway to Heaven or Kashmir, because those are like the two most popular songs that they've ever made.
I'd choose Stairway.
I choose Kashmir.
I just don't like Kashmir. I don't.
All right. Well, you go first with Stairway. Mind you, I like Stairway. It took me a while to like Stairway, but I'll let you go ahead.
I just think it's really just interesting. I mean, they're both like similarly laid out in terms of like the way that the songs progress. They're both very slow songs, but I don't know. It's just something about like Stairway. It's just, I don't know. It sounds like you're reflecting. I feel
Like Robert Plant's lyrics are pretty reflective.
Yeah, that's what I feel with that. I mean, Kashmir, it's. I mean, Kashmir's good. Don't get me wrong; it's definitely up there. It's just not personally one of my favorites because I don't see it. I don't see what people see in Kashmir, but you guys might not see what I don't see in Kashmir. So,
Stairway was, another because I'm a drummer and I love drums, and I always pay attention to the drums. I know in Stairway to Heaven, it takes a little bit for the drums to appear, but it's worth it though because the build-up is really good. It is a good song. It is one of their classics. I'm not denying anything. Is it personally my favorite out of the two? No. Kashmir is my favorite. I was on my way home from work yesterday, and I have a playlist compiling all of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs, and Kashmir came on. I usually do is I don't skip. Sometimes I will, but I just mostly play the playlist all the way through. So Kashmir came on, and it's just something about that riff where it goes da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. Well, first and foremost, the guitar that Jimmy Page uses is not an actual regular guitar. I think it's a Del Cilantro. It's like an interesting. I think it's like a Middle Eastern type guitar because that song was inspired by a trip that Robert Plant and Jimmy Page took somewhere in the Middle East, and they wrote the song on that trip. So you could definitely hear it. It was just the orchestral elements in it. The band, I know that's the guitar, but it's just very orchestral. And of course, John Bonham on the beat.
I'm almost certain that was a piano that you're thinking of.
The bam, bam. No. I watched a video. On he made a video. I think it was like present day, not like recent, but like a few years ago in the present. He was doing a video It was in a room. He was with the guitarist of U2 and Jack White from the White Stripes. And they were talking about what was it about Kashmir that, because they both loved the song, what was it about that song that made it so mesmerizing? And then
I'll give it that. It is definitely a very mesmerizing song.
he said that that's actually that guitar that he used. He used it. If you watch the video, it's the same thing. But it's just that song. And then when it gets towards the I wouldn't say the climax of the song, but towards the middle part of the song later on, and then the beat, John Bonham kicks the beat in. It's that groove he plays is just sick. And then it's he has the timpani drum, and then it's so good. It's just that song's so good. Now I'm not saying Stairway is a terrible song. It is still good. I just favor Kashmir more. They're both long songs, but it's just Kashmir's more of the groovy Stairway was more like a light and feathery like folk song, but it's good. It is good. You know, it gets you in like in a mood. It's like a peaceful song. Kashmir is like this, like groovy, like, you know, right in your face song.
It's like We Will Rock You. Like same sort of like, you know, it's like slow paced but powerful, I feel.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, oh, see, like if you don't, I'm trying to think what Stairway would be like. Like, I don't know, it sounds similar like what Queen would produce, kind of like, oh, well, Queen, yeah, that's right, yeah. We Will Rock You in Kashmir. And then, I don't know, like something similar, like how about Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy? Like that's a Queen song that kind of sounds...
I've never heard of that song before.
I'm just speculating here. I could be entirely wrong, but I'll show it to you. It's a good song. It's like a lighthearted song, but it's not like, you know, extreme. It's more
Stairway
like,
or the Queen
well,
song?
both of them.
Wow.
You know,
We Will Rock You is a classic.
it is. So I think that I wouldn't call him a power ballad. I don't think it'd be like fair to call.
Stairway?
No, Kashmir and We Will Rock You.
Well, Kashmir, We Will Rock You wasn't a ballad. We Are the Champions was a ballad because that comes on right after We Will Rock You ends. It shifts to We Are the Champions.
Got it. So I don't really know what that would be.
I think like I would label We Will Rock You as like this like pumped up motivation. My favorite part is when Brian May comes in on the guitar. Yeah. Or the part where you hear go. Like it just kicks in. Like that's just like a motivational, get everyone like pumped up on their feet song. Stairway is more of like it's like a folk ballad. Like it's like it starts off slow and nice, and then when the drums kick in, then it goes. Then you get the and then John plays the drums and Jimmy Page does the solo. Kashmir was another ballad song, but it was more of like a Middle Eastern orchestral like rock song that was really more of like funk, like not funk, but like groove and like just pounding. Yeah.
I got like a weird thing for this podcast, right? So I don't know if most people will be able to see us. I don't know if we're if people are listening or like watching or how that's working, but they can definitely hear regardless if they could see us or not. So I'm thinking like, what if we did our own power ballad on the same vein as like We Will Rock You in Kashmir? We're gonna create our own beat for everyone here.
How would we do it?
We just gotta come up with a basic beat.
Well,
This is part of the fun we have.
if we do a power ballad, I think we would have to do something like not intricate, simple, but not too simple. Or we can even make it simple. I feel like on a ballad, you could go either way. I feel like you can make it based on a simple beat or something like not simple but also not intricate. So it's like, because I'm not going to copy the beats. We're not trying to get copyright, but We Will Rock You is like the something like that, and then Kashmir is like it's like da 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 da.
So what if we try and blend the two? So it's dun dun. Oh wait, that's We Will Rock.
It's the same thing.
See, I knew this. No, I'm okay. Thanks. I knew this would be a fun idea because we got to try and come up with something that's in the middle of them too. So it can't. It has to be similar to both We Will Rock You and Kashmir, but it can be neither at the same time. So it's basically both and none at the same time.
I'm trying to think now. I don't even know how you would do that because like you're trying not to copy it.
Yeah. Which is funny because if you take cues from it, then it's like it very quickly turns into that song.
Yeah. I don't even know.
I think it'd be really funny. So it's like dun 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 dun.
Well, here's the thing. Ballads always don't have to start with a beat. It can be like Stairway, or We Are the Champions, where You can start off with vocals, and the instruments come in, and then like a crescendo, and then it goes. Ah!
So we gotta find out what our song's about. So power ballads are supposed to get you motivated. So we'll say, "Wake up and clean your room." That's something I hear a lot. That's something I hear a lot at my house. So here we go. So we'll do like, "Wake up and clean your room," so it'll motivate you to. So what gets you out of bed? So like maybe like nice and soft, like, "Get out of bed, get out of bed, get out of bed." Just dropped a real life camera. Yeah, maybe that was a little too hardcore. So it's like, "Get out of bed, get out of bed, get out of bed."
It's still kind of "We Will Rock You."
So if you add more beats, doesn't that it'll make it sound a little less like take "We Will Rock You" and remove like a beat out.
I got it. Can you sound like this? No, I think this is better.
Wake up out of bed. Wake up from bed. Wake up. Wake up. Oh man.
I just couldn't even get into like, it's just how they do it, like with Queen. I don't know how like you can get into their mind. Like, speaking of Queen, I watched a scene on YouTube. It was from the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, and they did how Another One Bites the Dust was made. That song is what got me into Queen first and foremost. But that bass riff that John Deacon goes doom 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 doom.
You know, it's very interesting with the British Parliament and how they work. When I was reading a YouTube video on it, I got into Queen.
The British Parliament.
What?
The way you said that.
You're talking about the Queen. in history class, I was like, you know what? I get it. It's interesting. Creating a power ballad, like bringing a song to people so that you can motivate them to do things. Right? I mean, like it's a fascinating concept. Like if you want people to clap their hands and run around like an idiot, you make a power ballad for it. Like, I mean, look, even an underrated one, which I could call a power ballad, would be "Jump."
By Van Halen.
Yeah, so if you want to jump.
That's such a good song, though.
It's a little overplayed.
I know, but it's so good, though.
It's all right. It's good.
It's a great.
But
song.
it's a power ballad. It gets you to jump.
More it's like a party song.
Party songs are included in that. Like, it's just fascinating how they're able to do that. Like, create a song that like makes you want to dance or jump or.
Yeah.
What?
Speaking of that, what are your thoughts on like when bands use cowbells? Like when drummers use cowbells?
I love it.
I think that is an example of one. This is quoting Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who's the drummer. You know, if you have a cowbell, that means you're partying. It's true.
It's true.
I like the use of the cowbell because it's something different.
Working on the farm all day long. Nothing can go wrong. Perfect. No, in reality, I think in good times, bad times is a perfect explanation of a very good cowbell implementation.
The bum 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 bum.
Well, not like that. It was more like. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, that's right. This is plastic. I usually have a metal one. Yeah, something like that. That one sounds a little distorted. It sounds like we threw it into a whirlybird machine.
You know what's a good song that uses the cowbell?
What?
Mississippi Queen. Bum 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 bum.
What's Mississippi Queen?
Mississippi Queen. You know what I mean. You know that one?
Wow.
All right.
AJ knows different songs than me.
So that leads me back to the main conversation of why the 70s is so good. Because
Is that what this whole conversation was about? Why 70s music is so good?
Yeah, but then we just started talking about Zeppelin and then all of this stuff.
I thought it originally started about how the 50s.
Yeah, but then we said our favorite era, and then I talked about mine, which was the 70s.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's the fun thing about podcasts is like you'll talk about something and you won't return to that conversation until like an hour later. It's like, oh yeah, so we're gonna continue back to what we were saying. Oh, we're out of time.
Except, yeah, man, no, the 70s was that's my favorite because, you know, Led Zeppelin and Queen and Deep Purple, David Bowie, Steely Dan, Heart, you know, the Police came on the tail end of the late 70s.
It's the sound of the police. That's terrible. It was a terrible interpretation of that song.
Well, since you mentioned that, hip hop.
Okay.
It is taking over. It's obviously it's the most overplayed genre ever.
I think we're gonna have to start getting to the point where these podcasts are just not going to be named anymore. I think we just go too far off topic.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, that's fine. Welcome to episode 2. That's his new name. It was originally going to be, today we're going to talk about 50s music. No. Episode 2.
Well, hey,
no context.
Hey, when we first started this, we talked about like what was our favorite eras of music and how we thought it was innovative for rock music. You said yours, I said mine.
All right, on to the next conversation, like I was saying. So we got rap is taking over, you're saying?
Yeah.
All right, so...
taking over the airwaves.
So, guys, Grandma believes that... Oh, God. Grandpa wants Elvis back on TV.
No, look, I like hip-hop.
I like Elvis, though, so...
I mean, I like hip hop. Like I like Beastie Boys. I like LL Cool J, House of Pain, Run DMC, even Eminem. Like the newer people, but like all of like these people they basically are trying to be Lil Wayne, but with all their like the Lil Yachty or Lil Uzi or Little TJ. It's like,
I'll be honest, I don't really care for a lot of like newer rap or hip hop. But like I realize at the end of the day that a lot of these guys are just trying to make a living.
That's pretty much how it is now. Like a lot of these the industry in hip hop and all these record labels, they're just trying to profit off of it. Creativity in the songs, it's just they say the same things over and over again, and the only thing that's good are the beats, but everything else, like the lyrics are just
Well, I think the easy way, if someone were to tell me, like, what's your opinion on the state of hip hop nowadays,
or rap, whatever you want to call it.
I would say most people are just trying to make a living. So you can take of that what you want. I think it works in many different directions, but that's all I'm going to say because there's some people that just use it. I mean, pretty much with anything. That's with anything, even with rock. Some people use it to profit, and some people actually do it because they have a genuine care for it. So you got your own mix, but I feel like there's a majority of people, and it's been talked about many times, that a lot of people just kind of do it just for the money, disappear, and then, maybe they'll come back, maybe they won't, but people are there to make a living. There are people there to make a living, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, but, I really respect it more when people do it because they care about it and they love the craft of it. Growing up listening to like all of the people in the past, influencing them to do what they want to do.
True.
Like
this brings up a good question, so I'm going to cut you off.
No,
I'm saying, what are you saying?
No, I forgot you're good.
A lot of people are asking me, what's the state? No, nobody was asking this. This is just a question in my head. Hey, Justin, what do you think the state of Nashville music is? Nashville rock is? Well, let me tell you, it's the state of it is Tennessee. That's terrible.
I don't know where that came from, but
no, it comes from this funny joke I was talking.
I thought you were talking about like what like right now, like what is the state of like actual like rock music nowadays? That
brings up a good question though.
Like what is this like? What is the state of rock? there's really not. I was talking to a guy about this, I think, a few months ago, because he saw that I was playing music from the past. And he was like, "Do they even make rock music like this anymore?" I'm like, "Unfortunately, no. Like nowadays, a lot of like pop. It's more like pop rock. But I do like some pop rock, like early, like late to like early to like mid to late like 2000s, going to 2010. That's some good stuff. Like Imagine Dragons. I was going to tell you about this.
I actually like Imagine.
Natural, great song.
You like that song?
Because it was from the NHL 18 soundtrack, and I heard this for the first time in a long time. I was like, this song is really good.
That song slapped when it came out.
It still slaps to this day because like
a lot of people don't like them though.
I mean, I bet like because I'm a Coldplay guy, I like Coldplay, but Imagine Dragons has some good songs. Like that song, for example, Natural is such a good. It's like Radioactive's not bad, Believer's not bad, Demons isn't bad, but it's just they were a band that like yes they aren't instrument heavy, but they incorporate it somehow into the pop music, and I don't mind that. It's just like the newer pop stuff now, I'm just not a fan. A lot of like the punk stuff, like they're going around on TikTok because when the show Stranger Things, when they did the spoilers for anyone, if you didn't watch the show, especially the last episode of the new season, don't watch it. Just leave this video. But for the people who have, the one character did the certain part from the one Metallica song, Master of Puppets. Nowadays on TikTok, they're doing it where they're making like an emo pop punk version of it. I just don't like it.
Sounds good to me.
It's not good though. That's the thing. That's just my opinion. I don't like it because it's like you're gonna take something and you're gonna ruin it. And I just don't really like a lot of the news. Like I don't really listen. Okay, I don't listen to like new music like coming out in 2022. No, I don't do that. I used to back in the day when it came to hip hop. I'll listen to what was out, but I'll listen to like anything older, like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even like the early and mid to late early mid to late 2000s and mid to late 2010s, like Adele.
See, I can't comment on that. Like I listen to too much. Like I listen to even classic music. So
like classical.
Yeah.
I can't even listen to that. I
tried
jazz. I couldn't even try it.
I know. You don't like modern music. I get it, Grandpa. You want your deep fried Cheerios, your magazine, and your national televised programming, so you can yell at the weather for 5 days of the week. No, Tuesday's gonna rain. Why can't AC/DC come back for one last concert?
AC/DC is amazing.
AC/DC is pretty good.
Especially,
I don't like heavy metal though. That's the thing.
They're not metal though. People label them as metal, but they're not metal. They're like just rock and roll.
See, I am uncultured, guys. All right. Make sure to put that down in the comment section, telling me to go educate myself.
They were a really good band. They are still a good band to this day. I know they had various lineup changes throughout their career, but they were still good. They stayed true to the original style.
That's interesting because not many bands really do that
anymore.
Yeah, a lot of people try and do different things. Like how even a lot of the emo bands have become kind of like rock bands, not rock bands, pop. Like Panic at the Disco.
Panic at the Disco is like I like Brandon Urie, but there's only a few songs I like. I don't like their newer. Like they're like of course I Write Sins Not Tragedies, iconic, but like they're like Vegas Lights, like stuff from like the mid 2010s, that era of Panic at the Disco, great. But like
I Write Sins Not Tragedies.
That's a great song. I haven't listened to it. Go listen to it.
I'm gonna go listen to that song.
It's such a good song.
I never heard of it.
Paramore.
Ain't it fun? That's a long song I know about.
Was not a fan of that song. I like, Misery Business, like that style that they did.
That song was phenomenal.
That song was phenomenal.
And then you got Hot Shell Ray.
Hot Shell Ray is good.
Hot Shell Ray.
One Republic, another band that I think is a really good like pop rock turned basically pop band. Ryan Tedder, the singer, he is very talented singer. Secrets, Good Life, All the Right Moves, Apologize, those are like my favorites for them. Like the newer stuff, like Love Runs Out. What's that one thing they do? Counting Stars, right?
Yeah.
It was good when I was like 7th grade when I watched that. Not watched it, listened to it, watched the music video. It was okay. It's just, I feel like after a while when you grow up and your tastes and your interests change, and it's just with us, we have like old souls. Like my parents say it, your parents probably say it. We have old souls because it's just something about it really grabbed our attention.
True, man. I don't know. It's interesting. Well, I think that was a good conversation.
Yeah.
35 minutes of just blah, 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 blah,
That's
blah.
what we have the podcast for.
Yep. And next episode, we're not going to. We don't even know, honestly. This episode, we were supposed to talk about Halloween, but we changed it.
Well, yeah, because I said in the previous video, it's not going to be just about movies, especially Halloween. It's going to be about different things of our interests, to keep people entertained and get into another conversation besides that. We'll mention Halloween again in another podcast. We were talking about it earlier before we went on our lunch break. That what if Justin was like, hey, what if we made a podcast where we try not to talk anything bad about Halloween 5, but we know we're going to spend a half hour talking all bad about it.
I think what would be really funny, what if we do like we one up even that idea? Like we do like one person chooses Resurrection and one person has to choose 5. We'll do like a heads or tails because, nobody's going to willingly say they want to pick either movie. So
you have to pick one.
Yeah, so that's logically we're going to let the coin force us into doing this for 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll have to defend it. It's like King of the Castle, but the castle is 2 movies we don't really care for. So I got to try and, you'll tell me, well, at least my movie doesn't do this. And it's like, well, and then I have to try and dig and find something that's good about my movie.
Yeah, that would be interesting because it's movies that we both don't like, but I feel like try to at least.
And then we can on that topic we can also talk about Adam Sandler films.
Dude, come on! I love Adam Sandler. This guy is he's just a wimp and just won't actually try to like good films.
I don't find them funny, really.
Well, you have to try to just try for the sake of
commentary.
Of commentary.
Of television.
Yes.
I get it. I'll do it for television, all right?
But yeah, so we're going to end the podcast here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for the next one. Again, it will be on a different topic.
Yep.
So.
Sounds good. Well, thank you all for all the constant support. We'll be doing these every once in a while. Yeah. Remember, guys, Grandpa likes his Cheerios deep fried, his newspaper in his hand, his recliner set to 0, and he loves to watch the news. Have a good one, everyone, and we'll see you next time.